We discussed earlier in today's show the fact that Donald Trump has thrown his support behind Jim Jordan to be the next Speaker of the House, which of course would be disastrous. But even more disastrous would be Donald Trump himself as Speaker of the House. And that's something that still numerous Republicans are avid about. They very much want Trump to be the next Speaker, which is so ridiculous, reflects very poorly on them and their commitment to serious governance. But it's something that's being discussed here on Eric Bolling's show. First, take note of in this clip, Eric Bolling, so giddy, so pumped about this. Christmas gift for him. Then Republican Congressman Greg Seube comes on and makes the case for this ridiculous idea. We'll get to at the end him answering the criticism that's been pointed out, which is that in the Republican passed rules for their own leadership, it says it can't be someone who's indicted. But he says, no, that doesn't apply to Donald Trump. But first, here's this being introduced by Eric Bolling. Very, very excited.
In Florida, Congressman Greg Seube, Congressman, this is great. I just adore this story. The thought of Donald Trump sitting behind Joe Biden at a State of the Union, I'm just dying. He's going to show up at the conference. What are your thoughts on this?
How awesome would it be for President Trump to be the leader of the House and negotiate with Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden spending policies from a conservative majority House? I can't think of somebody that would be better to do it. I fully support the notion. I especially support it if we can't come together as a conference. I know Jim Jordan's running. I know Steve Scalise is running. If they both can't get to 218, we need to have somebody that can unify our conference, even if it's for the 45 days, 60 days that we're in this, trying to pass this this funding issue. We need to have somebody that can unite the party, everybody can get behind, and wouldn't it just be sweet to all these Democrats who kicked out our former speaker that they got rid of Kevin McCarthy and now they have to deal with President Trump?
Wouldn't it be so sweet? So then Eric Bolling asks about the issue with a potential Trump speakership.
He's not a member of the House and only the rules apply to a member of the House, and I can...
Oh, went too far forward. Here we go.
Earlier today, and there's a congressional reporter who's been there for a long time, and he came on, and I know Fox doesn't like Trump. I mean, let's just be honest. Can we just be honest? Fox doesn't like Trump, and he said something like, "Well, there may be a rule where if you're under indictment or you're some sort of felony indictment before you're even convicted, that you can't run for speaker." Congressman, I don't think is there a rule that I don't know about?
I will nip that in the bud right now because I've seen Democrats tweeting that back at me. First of all, Trump wouldn't be a member of the House. So at the current moment, rules don't apply to him because he's not a member of the House and only the rules apply to a member of the House. And I can guarantee you that if that were to happen, we are in the majority. We can change the rules at any time. There are things that we can.
Yeah, that's a weird argument. The first one. The second one, I guess, sure, nothing has to apply to Trump. But the first one was, it's not a member of the House. But you would be making Trump the Speaker of the House, so then he wouldn't be able to be a part of House leadership because your rule says you can't have been indicted and be a member of House leadership. But he's not a member of the House, and that applies to House. I don't know. Whatever. The second point's hilarious. Well, we'll just change the rules. That doesn't have to apply to Trump. That was political persecution, whatever they'll say. As was expected. I've seen multiple people, even before Greg Seube said that, predict that would be the exact response. The rules don't have to apply to Donald. Come on. Now, I have to tell you, I don't want this to happen because Trump would be horrible and that would be so bad for effective governance. As I said previously, are we going to see effective governance from anyone who's going to be selected by the Republican caucus? Probably not. So that does change the calculus because I do think this would further cement undeniably in the eyes of the American people. Republicans aren't serious. They're not trying to get things done. Putting Trump as Speaker of the House, it's like a joke. It's a satire type thing. It's not the move of a party wanting to get things done, wanting to work sometimes across the aisle to implement policies that benefit the lives of Americans. By the way, a different House Republican, Garrett Graves, had a very different response to this prospect.
Interesting you said that, because Trump is coming. Apparently, he's considering it it's likely, I am told by sources, to the Capitol on Tuesday as you are having your candidate forum the day before you're going to have your actual speaker. He's claiming tonight that he could actually take the job as House Speaker on a short-term basis. Do you believe that that can happen?
Look, there's a part of me that just sitting down and buying tickets to watch the chaos would be incredibly entertaining to see what the Democrats just created. But in
then he goes on to say, but something else, we need a different leader. But that part's so aggravating. First of all, you don't get to talk about getting tickets to watch the chaos when the chaos is being created, initiated, catalyzed by your party. You could help to prevent the chaos. So don't get tickets to watch the chaos, you goof. But he's trying to say the Democrats are to blame because they didn't come in to save Kevin McCarthy. As has always been the case, the majority selects, then is the one giving the power to the speaker. And he knows he would never have jumped in to save Nancy Pelosi if a similar thing had arisen under her leadership, which it wouldn't have because she was a better speaker. But this idea that Democrats are at all to blame. Of course, if Kevin McCarthy is, first of all, consistently lying and being dishonest to the Democratic caucus and also didn't come to them asking for them to jump in and save his behind, then of course they're not obligated to do that. It was the rebellion within his party that is to blame. Making it about anything else is dishonest. And flipping it around makes that very clear because he knows he wouldn't think it's the fault of Republicans if Republicans in a different situation didn't come in to save Nancy Pelosi's speakership. You have to agree within your party if you have the majority on who you want your speaker to be. And if y'all all of a sudden disagree, yeah, the other party is going to watch you get ousted. That's just how it rolls, Sir Garrett Graves. But we are getting reporting, and this is going to be a spectacle, my goodness, that Trump's going to go, as I mentioned earlier, I think, and be a part of the negotiations for Speaker on Capitol Hill. Show up and be a part of that whole thing next week. Why? On Eric Bolling's show, Greg Seube was saying, we need a uniter, someone who can unite our party. Is Trump the guy? Y'all are having a Republican civil war in part over this guy. I don't know if he's the guy who should show up to unite the party. Very bizarre. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. And there's a link in the description.